So what does fearless evokes in you, Tony?
To be fearless.
Yeah.
For me, fear is the major problem in Western and Eastern societies, and today in most native societies, because we get dictated so much by lacks and limitations, which are based on fears. For example, the fear of not having enough, or the fear of being alone, or the fear of not being accepted, or the fear of not being good enough, or the fear of not living to your expectation or someone else's expectation. Can go on forever. There's thousands and thousands of fears, and they take up a lot of energy. Physical
Yeah.
energy, a lot of physical energy beyond what we realize, a lot of emotional energy and a lot of mental time, and they dictate a lot of our actions. And to be fearless is an amazing sense of freedom. It's a freedom whereby it doesn't mean you're perfect, but you can make choices that are not dictated by, I have to do this because if I don't do this, then this and this and this will happen. And I find that children are fearless, and so they're more creative, more open, and more able to adapt to situations very quickly and enjoy those changes much more than some people. Like I was reading, because of the economic crisis, people in Japan now are committing suicide because their reality changes so much. The fear becomes so immense, they don't know how to cope with it. So they just say, okay, this is too much for me. And they can't see that perhaps that's a gateway to an immense change, a realization of something that couldn't happen without that change. So, for me, being fearless is being open and creative and joyful.
No, we
I
have
hope
our
that,
friend
we
in the
have.
background. Oh well, I'm gonna continue. We're gonna continue this conversation anyway,
Okay.
regardless, because this is so
Okay.
interesting.
Okay. So, when you're able to be free in that sense, I think you open your mind to a creative knowledge and wisdom that goes beyond what we can see. So I find that people find things that they never thought of that actually just come forth and help them in a way that is so powerful. I've known people who have lost their jobs. I've worked with business people who have lost their jobs, and it's been a crisis for sure, and painful, and not nice. But they have told me they would have never changed that experience, because what it has shown them is to do something totally different and maybe reassess their values and reassess their priorities in a way that allows them to do something that they wouldn't have done before, because things were going in a way that was okay. So it pushed them to the edge, and I think that's what letting go of fear is. It's going to the limits of what you feel comfortable with, so that you can really look at what is out there and be open to those things out there.
Mm.
Um,
And I find when you have the fears, like that's when I especially go and move forward, because there's usually something amazing behind. But
exactly,
how would you
exactly,
explain, like, how do you do that shift
exactly.
between?
Yeah.
Because what do? You know that you're fearful, you're afraid, you're
Yes.
panicked.
Yes. Yes.
What is the next step?
Well, one step is not to um, get so serious. And many people then, when a crisis hits and their fear overwhelms them, they tend to spend a lot of time trying to resolve the problem using their mind, or using the old programs in the mind to try to resolve whatever. And they spend time thinking, talking to friends in a way that really it's useful for a little while, but doesn't actually address the problem. So for me, the first step is to move beyond the fear by raising the energy inside of your body. And one way
Hmm.
to do that is moving the body. So
Hmm.
rather than sitting down,
Mhm.
I would say, take up some interesting exercise like walking or dancing, or just doing something
But
with your
move.
move. Exactly, because that actually moves things inside of your mind. And breathe deeply into your belly. Breathe so that you can be open enough to see that perhaps there is more than just that old program that is coming up. And be open. Watch the signs around you. Watch, interesting synchronicities,
Mm.
interesting things that tell you perhaps to move in a direction that seems totally crazy, and your friends say, "Oh, are you sure you can do this?" And follow your gut intuition and stay with it. Even if it fails once or twice or three times, keep going. And then I find that when you totally trust a new situation, that people come your way. And this is what business people have told me. They've said they've met people, their own colleagues, who have helped them to start something that they've always wanted to do. And that actually people help them much more than the mind when the fear is being experienced, than the mind gives credit to. So people help, situations arise, and things fall into place. It's happened to me many, many times. So to a point now that I don't even worry about it. I just trust. I know
Yeah.
things work out. But it's not the hippie sort of let's just wait and see what happens. You have to actually take those steps.
Take action.
Take
Yes, yes.
action, exactly, in a real sense.
Feel the intention, know the intention,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
move forward.
Yes, and not to fear failing.
Hey, that's a big one.
you know,
Especially when you might just have failed in other people's
exactly.
opinion
And
or
people criticize what
yeah.
you're doing, and maybe you have to downsize, and maybe, all those luxuries that people say are important become, difficult to keep and maintain. But somehow, I'm not saying to simplify life, but somehow, things fall into place. So I know my experience. I just said to my family when I was much younger that I have no intention to go and do what was sort of my path in some people's eyes. I just want to travel and experience life in a way that is amazing and opens my mind in a different way than just doing those normal things that I didn't feel would help me. Um, and I had no money. I had no way of supporting myself. And now, 20 years later, I'm still doing this, and I'm writing books, and I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And had I not gone through this journey that I write about in the book, I would have never been able to be where I am now.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't think, one never knows, but
For sure.
the experiences form your whole life.
Amazing.
You meet people, you have experiences that you live only, for me, you live once, and you might as well live completely and intensely and fully, and not let fear sort of stop you from taking those actions that need to be taken for you to live life in a way that makes you happy and free.
Do you do yeah, do you do fear workshops
For
or
sure.
coaching one-on-one for people that really
Yes,
need you right now?
one-on-one is difficult because I work with so many people, but sometimes I do. Mostly it's in retreats. My next retreat is on an island near Stockholm in Sweden,
Oh,
and it's for 7 days.
wow.
And it's a beautiful place. It's away from
In
civilized,
nature.
in nature, not far from Stockholm, but totally car-free, industry-free. And
Why
we
Stockholm?
Why Stockholm? Because I was invited to in this place, and it's a private island. So I just thought, why
Wow,
not?
that sounds amazing. And
It is.
what's gonna
The,
happen there?
well, the retreat is working exactly like you said, with fear,
Really?
and letting go of the limitations of fear and seeing the wisdom behind them. What is not really being understood,
Expressed or
expressed, and completely, experienced. Because fear to me is not negative. Fear is actually like anger. It's a communication that has a deeper message. And
hmm.
once we let go of the superficial, there is a deeper message that you can understand. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.